Welcome back, my friends. My name is Eric. This is Rome, and we're back with some Star Citizen. So today we have the Miss Call B finally into our hands. I have not watched the video yet, but we are going to. I'm going to sneeze here. My allergies have a kick in my butt. Hold on. Oh, sorry about that. We're going to watch the behind the ships, and then we'll log in. I believe I am all up to date. I am up to date, and we will log in and see what it looks like. I wasn't sure when they said that they were going to do kind of an X pattern before. I just couldn't visualize it in my head. Now that I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, exactly.
Is our premium medium freight ship in the universe.
I see it exactly what they meant now, and it works a lot better than anything I'd imagined.
Capable of carrying a significant amount of cargo between stations within a system or across multiple solar systems.
It sits between the Hull A, which is kind of your entry into the cargo hauling profession, and the Hull C, which is kind of big, serious interstellar cargo hauling runs.
In terms of scaling and role, the Hull B is closer to the Hull A in terms of gameplay flow and mechanics, without the challenges of the more complicated setup and flow of the Hull C.
When you first look at the Hull B, you definitely notice a MISC chip. MISC is a high-end industrial manufacturer. It's a very clean art style. Visually, you kind of got these really large, clean, panelled, kind of bulbous shapes.
Think about the aesthetic of the 50s and bring it to a more futuristic.
You've got these really large, heavy-duty landing gear. You can clearly see it being built to take a lot of weight.
And then move along the top, and there's some really nice detail, some nice ribbing where the remote turret sits. Continuing along the top, there's a nice spoiler towards the rear.
I don't know how useful that turret's going to be, especially where it sits, right? Because your sides are kind of blocked to the left and the right a little bit. You're not going to get any downward movement on those guns, and obviously you got the big spoiler in back with the big swoopy bit here. So your back angle is going to be kind of up. You're not actually going to be able to shoot people coming up from behind you, which in my opinion is the only reason to have that gun, is while you're making your getaway that you can put some shots on somebody and maybe make them back off or miss their shots, because you're not going to be using this for combat. Not really. I mean, I guess you could use it for some really basic stuff. It's got 2 size 3 here in the remote turret and 2 size 3 that are pilot controlled. But the fact that it can't shoot backwards, it really should be like up here. Where it's got better line sights. This is kind of pointless here. You're not going to be flying forward into combat in this ship. Having said that, I think this would be a really good ship for salvage missions, once you get up to the point where you get the larger salvage missions where there's a lot of cargo in the ships. And then you use the guns, just the 2 size 3, put something on that will make sure to penetrate through like a the armor of a C2, M2, right? So you're going to have to go attritions or like deadbolts or something like that. And then you strip everything out of it and blow it up to complete the mission. I think that's the most useful thing you have for the guns. Maybe there'll be some storyline gameplay where you have to go in, clear some people out and get cargo, like we had a couple storylines ago where there was one where you had to land at like kind of a depot area, and you had to collect the stolen stuff. Because I would fly the Hull C in, just hover above and use the tractor beam to tractor the stuff up to do it. But you could do that, or you could use the guns to kill the people on the ground as well, and then land and loot them as well as get the stuff.
When you see this ship collapse, it feels almost like a little shuttle that could fly about. But then as you start to look at the back, you've got these massive engines on the rear of it. And then that gives you a bit of a visual indication that maybe there's something a bit more to the ship than what you see at first glance.
Much like the rest of the Hull series, it has a compacting and extending spindle in the center section.
That seems way more complex than it needs to be. I mean, it looks cool, but that's a lot of movement.
What you see at first glance.
I think they just fold. Well,
Much like the rest of the whole series, it has a compacting and extending spindle in the center section that allows the ship to have a smaller silhouette and shape.
I
when
think
not
there's
carrying
easier
cargo,
ways to do that.
And then expanding out to carry the maximum amount of cargo.
It's quite a marvel of engineering in how much spindle and cargo grid we've managed to fit into such a small space when it's collapsed.
It holds 512 SCU of cargo, up to 16.
I think it extends like 25 or 26 meters, something like that. It goes from like, hold on, I had it pulled up. That's the, I bought the paint. I had it pre-ordered. Oh, come on. Testing. Oh, all right. Let's try that again. Video YouTube and Star Citizen. I could have sworn that I had a graphic that actually showed it. Expanding and unexpanding that gave all the dimensions on it that I don't see this time I'm logged in. Interesting. Was it here? Here we go. Here we go. So we got our Hall B here. There's our 512 SC of cargo, complete accessibility, dynamic spindle. There were dimensions. Yeah, so it goes from 46 meters to 71 meters expanded. So that's 25, right? And there's our guns, and we've got 2 size 3 missiles, which is, I don't know why even bother, I guess. But yeah, okay.
(1632) SCU crates. You can either load the cargo manually with
How many?
up to 1632
16.
SCU crates. You can either load the cargo manually with handheld tractor beams, or the co-pilot has access to 2 front-facing remote tractor beam turrets in order to load cargo from within the vehicle.
Okay.
External.
So my question so far is, can we use this at the station auto loading for cargo, external auto loading? Because this would be a good kind of middle point where if it works like the Hall C is supposed to, you could use that, but when it doesn't work, like the Hall C never does, you could just go up to one of the external manual cargo grids and use the internal tractor beam to load and unload reasonably quickly that way. I think that'd be the way. I think this would be a really good commodity ship as well, because you wouldn't, like last night, I had a refining order and I had it sent directly to my ship. And of course the hangar ate the ship and I lost it, which is pretty common in commodity trading as well. I could have it just sent to the elevator and load manually, either in the hangar, because this can land with the grid out, or externally at one of those external cargo grids. I think that would work quite a bit easier, I think, rather than because it's so much faster and easier to load than, say, a C2. With how much does a C2 hold? Hold on. Hold on, where I need to go. Let's go. Oh, I've got do I still have it bookmarked? I might have got rid of it because it's not been up to date for quite a while. There's a post somewhere that had all of the grids done low, or spelled out. Let's go pledge store, ships. I guess we can just go to Crusader since we're here, right? C2 Hercules costs $400, as opposed to, well, we'll check the price on the A in a second here. So it has 696. So it's got quite a bit more, well, almost 200 more than the Hall B does. But it's going to be a lot easier to load because the Hall C, I'm showing with my hands, my camera battery was dead. So you can't see what I'm doing with my hands. Convenient, huh? Anyway, because it's so high off the ground, you can't see the load deck from outside. And it's not quite tall enough inside to use the Atlas easily because the Atlas wants to fly everything, 80 feet above its head. So it's kind of a pain in the ass to load. Even though it can hold a lot. It's pretty quick to unload, but loading is a pain. So this will be a lot easier to load. So now let's go Hall. We'll just search for Hall. What does the B run? So 500 for the C, 280. I think that's really, really good value compared to the C2. Yes, you get a little bit less, but 5, 12 or whatever it is still significant. And I think it's a more usable ship. Now the C2, the Hercules lineup is such a good lineup. And it's going to be a much more all-around ship than the Hall B is going to be. But if you just want cargo, I think the Hall B is a really good deal. If you want to do more, if you want a mothership, if you want to do ground mining, if you want to do bunkers, you want to do actual combat, you can do that in the Hercules lineup, especially the M2 if you want to do some M2 or A2. But those get more expensive. Yeah, the M2 goes up to 520, and the A2 when it's available is 750. So realistically, from an industrial standpoint, we're looking at C2 versus Hall B. And if you're just in it for hauling or commodity trading, I think the Hall B is a really good value comparatively to the C2. Not saying that you should spend $200 and whatever dollars on a video game ship, but if you're going to, I think it's a better deal. Now, if you want to be able to do bunkers, if you want to be able to drive a rocket in and out of here, if you want to be able to put a snub fighter in it, obviously you can't do any of that on the Hall B. So the extra money for this, ultimately, I think the fair price is comparatively because this can do so much more than just cargo. But I say, if you just want a cargo ship, man, the Hall B.
Cargo has the great benefit that it is by far the quickest to load and unload.
Yep.
You can simply rock up to a location and then use the tractor beams on the ship to attach and detach cargo, rather than having to thread these larger, especially the 32 SE containers, through restricted doorways at the back of ships.
Yep.
So you have to be smart about where you use the Hall B. It's quick to load, but also, if you find yourself in a tricky situation, it's very quick for someone else to unload it for you. When it was first announced, it was promised to be able to land with its full capacity of cargo.
If you didn't know, you can tractor beam off if your shields are off. So keep your shields on, and then they can't get it without shooting at you. And then obviously you can at least make a pirate claim against them, or they'll get a bounty and you could send somebody off to get them, But if you just sit out there with the shields off out in the middle of space, you can do exactly what they just did.
However, over time, the cargo system changed, the design of ships have changed. And when you look at the Hull A and the Hull C, they have a sort of cross arrangement. And doing this for the Hull B and the stated amount of cargo that we had said at the start, it just simply couldn't land without having the most comical, super long, gangly legs. So from that point onwards, we went back to concept, had multiple iterations of different cargo arrangements to suit the new capacity, and we settled on moving from the cross arrangement to rotating it 45 degrees into the X arrangement you see today.
And it still looks really good when it's open or closed, but it's still able to hold all of its cargo when landed.
I would describe it more as a diamond than an X pattern. I think that makes a lot more intuitive sense. But like I said, if they would have said a diamond pattern early, I would have known exactly what they were talking about. But they said X, and I see it, but it took, now it makes sense. But without seeing it, it didn't. I think they should call it a diamond pattern.
The whole B is great in that you can load it from both within hangars and external freight elevators. And then in the future, we want to allow you to be able to also use the facilities of docking, so you can truly load it from anywhere with any sort of cargo.
Okay, so we can't do the docking, the
Another
cargo
advantage
docking
of the
yet.
whole B compared to, say, the Caterpillar, which has a very similar amount of cargo capacity, is the Caterpillar is a large hangar and the whole B is a medium. So you have...
I don't even think this is probably actually, let's look at the price of a Caterpillar. Did I spell that right? $330. And it holds how much? Because I don't have mine anymore, I didn't think about it as, but it really is the direct competitor, right? 576. So it still holds a little bit more, but you've got it in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bays. And you've got to load it up. And again, it's higher up. So it's not, again, it's a little bit like the C2 in that it's kind of a pain to load, but it's really easy to unload, especially with the tractor beam that can unload it from up here. Loading with it is a pain in the ass, but multiplayer, it's amazing. It's great. One person throws it up, the other person puts it away. It works really, really well multiplayer, but solo, it's a pain to load, but really easy to unload. However, that organization makes it really easy to do the higher paying hauling missions where you have to take, 30 SU of whatever to here and another 40 to here and 15 to here and 20 to here. You can put it in each bay and use that as your organization for each stop. And that makes life really, really easy. So the Caterpillar from an organization standpoint is great, and from an unloading is great, but from a loading is kind of a pain, as opposed to the Hercules, the C2, where loading is a pain. There is no real organization sort of front of the ship, back of the ship. Unloading is still pretty easy, but it carries the most. The Hull B, you've got 4 separate panels, so I would say, again, you have pretty easy organization. Loading and unloading will be easy. It's not nearly as defensive as either of the other two, but it makes up for it with just super ease of use with all of the hauling game loops. That makes sense?
Have more accessible locations to land throughout the universe, being that there are more medium hangars in general than large.
Are there?
You walk into the entrance area.
Is there some place that has a medium hangar that doesn't have a large? I mean, extra large, yes, but I think every place has a large.
Which has our 2 suit lockers, a weapon locker, and a small bench to prepare yourself for leaving the ship. Coming up the personnel lift, to your left is a door to engineering. This houses most of the major components for the ship and the engineering screen.
Center stage in there is the big mechanism that allows the ship to retract and extend its cargo grid.
Heading to your right from the personnel lift, you walk into the main corridor. This is a main thoroughfare of the ship. This also houses some of the other components. To one side is a mess hall.
You have a 2-seat table.
Looks
and
just
a
like my
kitchenette.
On the opposite side of the corridor
Starlancer.
is the habitation area.
When you get in, you have like a bunk bed on your left, nice desk with its fridge and some shelves. You also have on the right space on the wall to hang up posters, and then the bathroom door.
Has anybody actually hung up any posters? I just noticed the other day that walls, and I don't know how long it's been in, that walls say you don't have the appropriate item. And I keep meaning to grab something, one of the flare items out and try it, because I think I even noticed it in one of the big hangars. But I haven't seen any videos on it, and I haven't tried it yet in the ship. Have any of you tried putting a poster on a wall recently?
As you enter into the bridge of the ship, as soon as you walk in, you know you're in a MISC ship. I know the MISC dashboards can be a little bit divisive. Maybe, on some of our previous ships, we maybe pushed the size of the dashboard a little bit too far, so it was something that we were quite conscious of.
I wonder if we'll be able to actually see these. For instance, in my Starlancer TAC, you can't actually see any of the MFDs while piloting the ship.
With the Hull B, but we have pushed the pilot and the co-pilot seat further forward, so you're kind of sat more into that left.
So the answer is no. Look, you can't see any of the MFDs from the seating position without having to use some sort of free look to get to them.
Just to give you better visibility out.
I guess maybe they're working with Toby, right? They want to make sure. Speaking of which, my Toby mount needs to be redone. I changed monitors, or I changed back to monitors. I went to put it back on. It doesn't quite want to stick. It's going to need a little tab of super glue. I guess it's a point in favor of an eye tracker or a VR set, so you can easily look down and see those without having to hit extra buttons.
Very happy with the whole B. I think it's a great ship. Looking forward to seeing lots of them populate the verse.
This ship is for those people who are more serious about cargo, who are those people who need maybe slightly more cargo space than a raft, for example.
I think it really is that sweet spot between cargo capacity and size.
Cool. All right. Let me kill that and get logged in, and then fast travel back to my home base because I do have some paints. We'll put a paint on it and we'll see what it looks like. And while we're waiting on the Hall B, let us take a look at the new Graycat UTV. It's got a nice little truck bed that'll hold a 1 SCU container like that. I don't know if it's got much else going on to it, but let's take a quick look. Oh, as we try to get out there. Fuel, okay. All right, so we've got a weapon rack there. Nice. Okay, components. Deploy. Oh, is that like a little step? It doesn't look like it's enough for me to... There we go. Yeah, okay. Kind of pointless, but cool nonetheless. So a couple weapons racks. You can put your tractor beam on there, whatever. Components, a little step. Storage, okay, not bad. 600K there. Nice. We've got some internal. This would be great. What is this? More components? More components. Oh, and what's this one? The hood? Ah, there we go. The rest of them. Nice. I like that. All right, our ship's there. Let's drive out in our new UTV and take a look at the new Hall B. Oh, steering is the standard vague steering. All right. All right, I like that. Looks very Miss Cargo Hall-y, huh? I think there's an elevator on this side. Actually, we should stick with this view because it looks cool. I like seeing him get out of the vehicle that way. There we go. All right, let's see if we can... there it is. I saw somebody complaining about it in chat, saying there was no way to get in or out. And so I didn't know if it was going to be hidden, but no, that's really easy. All right, standard looks exactly like the same on my Freelancer or the Hall C. Well, more like the Freelancer than the Hall C. Looks like or Starlancer, excuse me. My TAC or the... Okay. What's this? No idea. How about this? All right, engineering. Component access, nice, okay. Gun rack. Suit lockers. I guess that's just a seat? Yeah. And what's over here? Mind your head. All right, so this should be our docking collar. Yep. Nice. Okay, well, I guess we're going forward then. Let's see, what do we got over here? All right, a little cafeteria area, nice. Apparently lights are broken this too. Did they not fix that for anything, or are they just always going to be? All right, well, we got our emergency lights. Well, I guess they're on. They're just really, really dark for no apparent reason. Okay. Will this be our living quarters then? Apparently I turned on those lights for everything. There we go. Yeah, we got our desk, got the bunks. They already showed us those. They got storage underneath each bunk. All right. Bathroom at least is well lit. Nice. Wet head. We don't have a curtain rack or anything. And there we go. We can put a poster there. I should, before we go, I'll see if I can remember to grab something. Components again? Yeah, radar. Okay, some more components. So they're split between this hallway and the engineering. Life support's there. Another rifle rack, so you can put your gun there, and then if you get boarded, you've got an easy gun to get to. Let's once again change the lights. There we go. Nice. Okay, and again, yeah, we can't see those from here. Let's take a look, see what the standard is as far as how much power we got. 19 total. So if we take a little bit out of cooling, probably not going to need a lot in tractors, generally speaking, or in radar. Didn't I just take 2 out of cooling? Where did they go? We had 0. We still have 0. Now it says we have 3. Oh, we got it from there, though. So we don't have nearly enough power to run stuff, not even the basics. So we're going to have to figure out a way to kind of rebuild this. Because if we can't have we can't have cooling up, we can't have the radar up, we can't have life support up, we can't have any in the tractor beam, and we still don't have max for our shield. Now, obviously, we can turn off guns. We're not going to use those very often. That gets us within 1. But, you know, defensively, we want to have a little bit in radar and potentially everything in here, right? So, yeah, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to maximize that. That's going to take some work because this is severely underpowered at the moment. Maybe just all maybe civilian A, like kind of the Fortune does. The Wicklow Fortune is all Hall civilian A stuff. Maybe try that. I don't remember what this paint scheme is called. This is one that's available for everybody. I did get this one and the Chairman one, which is black and gold. And then this is also the Chairman camouflage color on the UTV. I think I prefer the standard one over this one, or the other one you get with it. Hold on. Somebody actually sent me a text. Is it important? Nope. Just a response from earlier. Yeah, I like that. Let's try. Let's see. Do I have my hotkey built still? I had to rebuild my hotkeys a while back. I didn't remember if I rebound the transform. All right. So in this one, you don't have the tunnel to get to the back. So the whole back is just storage for the container, for the cargo grid. Let's go ahead. Is there any sort of transformation for VTOL? I hear a sound, but I don't see anything actually changing. Yeah, it makes a sound, but it doesn't do anything. Yeah, we'll stay right here. Let me grab a poster and maybe a mission, and we'll see if we can put a poster up in the room, and we'll see if we can get a mission. We'll load it with something. I went ahead and they put it up top there. That was nice of them. I don't have a cargo beam. I need to bring that up to load it. They're like, yeah, here you go. Oops, we need this. There we go. I think this is going to be the ultimate kind of Atlas loading ship, right? With everything easy to get to. You're not trying to get in underneath on the like on a raft or an ox. You don't have to get into something. I think this is going to be, I think this is it. So I want to grab 2 missions that just go from here up to Bajini. I'm going to put us in free look mode. And, I can even get to the far side with this. Wow. This is so fast. All right, so next question is, can we take this with us? Not that you can recall these things so fast, but at some point we may not want to do that, right? Depending on what happens with insurance, and maybe you want to. Whoops. Can we rotate? No. All right, so even though it's supposed to lock to the grid, I thought it won't even let me rotate him. I can only leave him straight up and down. So, no. I wonder if he fit on the elevator. Kind of looks like it, huh? Can I fit on the elevator with him? I think so. Ow, ow! It hurts. No. I mean, it did kind of let me do it. But it's not letting me bring him onto the ship the rest of the way. He is where he is. Okay. Does it close this door when we send the elevator down? No. Okay, so what you could do is, you could go up, move him off, bring it back up. And then do it without pain. Kind of. I didn't get him all the way on there. Where did he go? Okay. We try that again. Am I going to do it this way very often? Probably not, especially not going to Bajini because I can just reclaim him from there at the moment. But again, if we can get this to work. Does that look okay? Perfect. Oh, by the way, got a painting on the wall. You can't see it because for whatever reason, steam is pouring out of our ceiling, but it's there. Is that battery? Battery. Okay, it lifts off fairly quickly. Yeah, it handles really well. I mean, granted, we've got just under 200 SCU on here, so we're sitting, you know, what, 40% load? Looks like we're going straight up at 90. Give it the beans a little bit faster, that's fine. What if we go, let's turn off VTOL and see if it seems to make a difference. No VTOL, it does. So VTOL in this one, even though we don't see it, it is giving us more thrust. Maybe 10-ish more, 15. Well, now that we're getting higher, it's going quite a bit more, but okay. So I think it's the Copilot that has these. All right. Enter power on. Enter left tractor beam. There we go. Except it doesn't appear to be working. No target. Do I not have the do I not have power to the tractor beams? I do. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's a little bit wobbly. Oh, it's all over the place. Yeah, definitely easier to do with the Atlas. Okay, I'm getting better at it. It is still really floaty. And again, we should have lights on this side of the... Actually, the ship is lit up pretty well. I can't argue that. That's nice. As opposed to the raft where there's no lights on the cargo deck. All right. No, no, don't go in there. Don't go towards the light. All right, did that complete both of them? All right, there we go. We made, I don't know, 140,000 or something like that. There's 70,000 each, maybe. I think it is faster to use the Atlas than it is to use the. Why is that floating? What the heck is going on? And why are we back on these lights again? Maybe because it's. I don't think it's open. I closed it, right? Yeah. I don't know. Where can I... Here, hold on, lights. There we go. There we go. So yeah, that was pretty easy. My next thought was, could I get this through this? And I don't think I can. Because I think that might be an easier way just to bring it up through the hatch there, but I don't think so. So the Hall B. Super easy to load, especially with the Atlas. Easy to fly. The transform button doesn't work while outside the cockpit, interestingly enough. There we go. I think this is it. I think this is my new go-to for cargo. So I believe I lost one of my... No, I was wondering if... I think I lost my Hall A. I had a loaner Hall A for this. Oh, it's those lights that are lighting us up, not our own lights. So we still don't have lights on our cargo, probably. Yeah, I had a Hall A, I think, as a loaner for this, and maybe something else. I don't remember. What are the loaners for this? Do I have that bookmarked anymore? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Hall HI. Oh, they took it off. They updated it. Okay. Well, no, the Hall C still shows the arrow. Huh. And the Hall C's in game. But the Hall B is no longer listed. So I don't remember what all I got. So anyway, regardless, I've lost a couple things. I may have to get myself another Hall A because I don't think I own one anymore. I think I just had my loaner one, but is what it is. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Cheers.